These may be the greatest wedge shafts ever made. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. I have in this box here 2 shafts from BGT that are going to go into my wedges, but I wanted to show you these raw so that if you're ordering it, you will know what to expect. Now, first of all, I'm just going to pull these out. These are 2 identical shafts because I play 2 wedges, a 60 degree and a 54 degree. And I, as a shorter player, have always relied on my short game to keep me in the game. In fact, I almost never get on the green in regulation, but I have always counted on having a bit of a flop shot or a pitch and run or chipping in my bag so that I could get on the green and give myself a chance to be putting for par. Now, these shafts have intrigued me. I actually saw these on the TXG channel, one of my favorite channels, and welcome back, Maddie, and I thought, man, I have got to check these out. I didn't even know they existed, so I went to their website and they have the shaft. Now, what you might be saying here is, Pete, that looks like the BGT Polar Stability Shaft that goes in your putter, and yes, I have had the BGT Stability Shaft in my Mez 1 putter as well as my B2 putter from Lab Golf, and they are fantastic. Now, this actually looks very similar in some ways, and I have been so happy with the BGT products, including the Brava driver shaft, that I had to check this out. So I'm super excited to get this. They are actually hard to come by because BGT is getting as many orders as they can fulfill. So I'm super stoked that I finally gotten this. Now, I want to show you that this shaft is actually beautiful. It's just one of the most beautiful shafts I've ever seen. Now, I picked this up because in my wedges, I don't like any flex at all. Now, it might be one of those things that actually helps us get a little distance, but to me, I am trying to dial in a shot so much that I don't want the tip to move any more than it needs to, just because that's another variable I can't control as much, and because I'm not taking full shots usually with my wedges. Many times I'm taking quarter shots, maybe from the 6 o'clock position to the 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock position max, and so I'm not getting a lot of speed, and so I don't need a lot of flex there. And one of the things that I do like is a lot of extra weight in those shafts because I like my wedges to feel very heavy. I like to feel like they're going to cut through any turf or rough that I might be having to hit out of. So the specs on this shaft here kind of look like they might deliver on everything. Now, I do want to say here, they do come in 3 weights here. So they come in a 90 gram, 115 gram, and 130 gram. I will tell you what, this is the 115 gram. As I understand it, this is the most popular of all the shafts here. So if you want to go up a little heavier, another 15 grams, you can go up to the 130. If you like your wedges feeling a little light, maybe that's how you get speed, you can go down to the 90. So you don't have to get it in just in this weight. This does have a 0.355 taper tip to it, so it should fit just about everything. And then they have some sort of ceramic coating here on the bottom, and you can see here it's in black. It actually should probably be some sort of Cerakote, so it never comes off with anything, but it's got a nice matte finish, and that's actually intentional so that it doesn't draw your eye away from looking at the ball, looking at the club head, so they say. And then up here on this top portion, this is kind of like made out of carbon fiber. You can see that it's a pretty thick wall right there, but this is beautiful. It's got a gunmetal finish here. There's a little bit of a graphic detail here. I do like this right here. It says ZNE in copper, so these ZNE shafts. Then they have a little coupler here. There's actually like little micro hooks inside here, so where these 2 shafts meet, they are bonded and epoxied together and they won't come apart. Now, I've certainly never had any problem with my putter shafts, although you're not putting those through the ringer a lot of times, but that was kind of one of my worries, especially because you can take full shots with wedges. I just don't most of the time, but what this will ensure is that this will not come apart. So just in terms of beauty, if you are someone who likes to have the latest and greatest on the golf course that looks amazing, this definitely is it. It's totally cool looking. So down here, the butt end of this is going to be 0.6 inches on the 90 gram and then 0.61 inches on the 115 and 130. So just a little bit larger in diameter than other golf clubs, but that 0.01 inch increase is probably not going to be noticeable. But I actually like larger shafts on my wedges because, you know, I am usually taking a little bit of a lighter grip and I like a bigger feel. In fact, I have gone to jumbo grips on my clubs anyway. So to install this club here, I think you'll just kind of sand the edge here, you know, your ferrule on there, epoxy that into your wedge. What I would say is that you probably want your graphic facing down so that it's not facing out, bothering you, and then you will trim the shaft to your needs and then regrip. And then once it's in the club, what you are going to get here is a very stiff, in this case a fairly heavy shaft, but it should give you some really good feel. Probably this carbon fiber is going to insulate you from any of that ringing you might get in your hands. But what this does here, and I'm backing up because as what this coupled part here does is it means that this part can be really stiff. You can get all that control, and then you can still get your kick point with this metal portion down here. And because it's coupled right here, you can really control it. So sometimes on a graphite shaft, what they're doing is they're putting a little bit more reinforcement in some areas where they don't want it to flex, a little less where they do want it to flex. And in this case, BGT is controlling that to the nth degree here. Like this part up here is super, super stiff, you know. I can't bend it at all, and I feel like if I were, it would just shatter because it's so stiff. But down here, you know, what I think you're getting is any flex that's going to happen is going to happen down here to here. So you're getting maybe the flex and the kick that you need from a shaft, but no more. And especially in a wedge shaft, that is exactly what I want. So is this shaft amazing? I don't know. I haven't hit it yet. It's still here in its raw form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take both of these shafts, get them installed in my wedges, and then I'm going to start playing with them, and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so brought these wedges over to the simulator. I will tell you what. If these shafts do nothing, but they're no worse than the shafts that I'm already using, I think they're worth it because they are so cool looking. Look at this shaft. I love how it steps down here. Looks like nothing else. If you are into the look of golf, you want to be golf cool, then having wedge shafts like this is definitely a differentiator, and I love it. I will also tell you what here. They feel really interesting. I mean, when I just get up here and swing my club, they feel crazy stiff. They actually feel heavier than my old shafts, although by the specs, I don't think they are. So I'm not actually sure if it's just the way they're weighted. My thought would be with the weight up at the top here, they would feel like they have a really light swing weight, but they feel heavy, which is what I like. And I don't know about you, but you know, most of my wedge shots are very short, and so I like the feel of a really heavy head in here. This is my 54 degree, and these are going to be my first hits with this. And I'm going to try a bunch of different hits. So I'm going to try kind of this 3/4 shot. I'm going to try the square to square chip shots. And then I'm also going to try my really wristy flop shots, you know, that try to get under the ball and get it to sit. So first of all, let's go ahead and hit some. I've got the pin out there at 100 yards, which is too far for this 54 degree here. But I thought I would just hit some, you know, decently full shots, 75% shots, and just see what the thoughts are after I hit them. Oh my word, that's gonna be right on the line. I don't know if I want to hit anymore because that felt amazing. And it just felt stiff and strong, and man, I just love the weight. I feel like the club is doing the work. I mean, the club should always feel like it's doing the work, but I feel like in this case, I feel like it is doing more work than it did with the other shafts. Dude, these things are straight as an arrow, and that is going right at the distance that I think it should be. I mean, 68 yards is right about where I gap these suckers at, if I have to kind of take that full 75% swing on them. So let's do one more. Unbelievable. All right, that was a little short, caught it a little fat, but dude, that was so straight. That is crazy to me. That is crazy to me. All right, let's see how this does on the short game here. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a square to square here, and I'm gonna shorten up the distance just a little bit. All right, so my square to square swing here will probably not get me out there to 50 yards. It might, but that would be kind of all of it. So I'm just gonna try to set up nice and square to this. It's kind of like if I were trying to do a controlled chip or pitch and run. Wow, 50 yards on the button, and that just sat. Dude, I am loving these shafts. The issue with my previous shafts is that they have just a little bit of kick, and you can feel it, and it's one of those things that's almost a little unsettling because you don't want to necessarily feel like you're not controlling everything about the club. All right, another square to square shot here. All right. That one I caught turf on, and it was very short, but again, just super straight. And I think the reality here is that these shafts are so stiff and so heavy, even though I caught the turf before the ball, the weight of the club feels like it is just carrying through, and it is super, super stable. All right, one more of these. Wow, Now I'm gonna hit one more. I really like these shots, and these are usually the shots where I can line up and they will be pretty straight because you just don't have kind of that wrist rolling action that you do in other shots. On the green, pretty consistent. Let's try some wristy flop shots. All right, now I know simulators struggle with the high spinny, open-faced flop shots here. And I don't want to hit my friend the monitor, but I do want to see what happens here when I'm going for my spinny shots. It's pretty nice. I will say that when I do these types of shots, I usually have to, in my mind, take off about 10 yards off the shot because they won't roll out and they tend to be higher flyers and sit quite a bit more, but that was pretty good. 36-yard carry, 40-yard shot here. All right, so face is open, stance is open. Man, love it. Love it. No matter how you try to do these open-faced flop shots, they're never going to go very far. But what I love about them is they're great for clearing bunkers and hazards or a lot of thick rough and sitting down in short greens. All right, all I can tell you is I love these shafts. They are so awesome. They are definitely better than my old shafts. I mean, they feel better, which is, I think, the only thing I can really tell you that I like conclusively better. From a data standpoint, they are super accurate. They're spot on. I mean, I don't have any complaints about them. They don't seem to be any worse than my old shafts, but I'm not that good of a player to tell you, like, the minute differences between them. However, I will tell you, I love the weighting. I love how stiff they feel. For a lot of us that rely on the short game, you just want all of that feel. And this gives it to you, and I think it puts the kick point right where you want it, but it's not going to be disconcerting. You're not getting a lot of flex up and down the shaft. They are a little pricey, but I tell you what, if you are someone that likes the latest and greatest in your bag, that looks amazing, that might get people asking you about your clubs, and you're going to love these. And if you are looking for something that is obviously the best technology out there, then these guys are definitely it. So how about another little square to square shot here, see if I can put it right down the line. And that's how accurate these things are. Man, I love these things. If you want to pick up the ZNE by BGT, whether it's for your wedges or for your putter, I can tell you, I have loved them all. Everything that has come out of the shop has impressed me, and I would say is worth every penny, despite how expensive they are. Man, if you want to improve your short game, I think that's where you should spend your money. So I'll put a link to these in the description below because I am in love with them. I wish it could love me back. Sometimes I hear it at night saying it does. Pick them up. You won't be sorry. Peter Von Panda, out.
We can discover more.